And hello everyone, welcome to this week's video upload. This will be the start of a new chapter, chapter 6 of Grandmaster Ronghua Sandwich Horse Defense Treatise. And as in the previous boards, I've chosen to place black at the bottom so that the viewer can experience the sandwich horse defense and its intricacies in the eyes as black. So without further ado, the central cannon, the sandwich horse defense, the foul chariot. Red will still choose to attack by advancing the third pawn in this chapter, but in this chapter the biggest difference would be that black would choose to develop his chariot very early on in the game. So this would be rather different, whereby in the previous chapters the elephant was moved, the pawn was moved, and somehow the development of left chariot became a problem for black as the match went on. And in this situation, the black horse will still be a target of attack for red, and by developing the left chariot as a rank chariot, black would hope that the speed of development of the left chariot will be able to counter any attacks by red on his left horse. So after r9 plus 1, black would usually move r9 equals to 4 and focus his attack on red's left flank. And there are 5 boards in this chapter. In the first board, red would choose to counter with the pawn rank cannon. So by advancing the 8th cannon, the cannon on the 8th file to black's pawn rank, it will be a very precise counter by red, because red will now target the pawn. At this point in time, just for beginners, it would not be wise for red to make this move to attack the central pawn, because black could counter with black will counter by using the pale corner cannon to capture the advisor and threaten to capture red's chariot. So if the king captured the black cannon, black would have gained an advisor so early in the game, and this would be to black's advantage. Hence h3 plus 4 is not played. So in the variation in the first board, we'll be discussing how black will counter red's pawn rank cannon. So this would be the move that was advocated. Although it would seem that black had wasted one move moving the cannon to the palace corner, followed by moving to the central cannon again, this would in fact be a very nice counter. It would not be a good idea to play p3 plus 1 now, since the horse was at this point, the horse was here already. The black chariot will not be so effective, and it will contradict the intentions of r9 plus 1. Neither can black move the elephant or the advisor, as it will block the rank chariot from further development. Hence, black's best option would be to play the central cannon as a counter. So this will be in effect a same direction cannons variation, and red will choose to use the double-headed snake pawns, whereby the development of the horses would become faster, while black's horses would need some maneuvering and possibly a trade of the pawns before they could be developed. So at this point, red will choose to advance his right horse to the riverbank, and this is one of the commonly seen variations in the same direction cannons. And by playing h3 plus 4, the horse could attack the pawn here, or even threaten the central pawn. So there were 2 variations that were discussed in the book. In the first variation, black would try to chase the red horse away, In the second variation, the black would try to target red's pawn rank cannon. So to begin with, if black played h4 equals to 6 to chase the red horse away, the red cannon would retreat and protect it, and black would choose to play r1 plus 1 at this point. It would not be ideal for black to try to trade pawns at this point in time, because if p3 plus 1 were played, the chariot would be chased away, and red would have the options of c8 minus 3 and c8 equals to 7 to attack this file, or red could attack with r2 plus 6 immediately. So at this point in time, red would have furthered his advantage in the game and would have a nice position whereby he had already had a defensive formation ready and going to the mid game. So p3 plus 1 is not a good idea at this point in time. So black would usually develop his other chariot also as a rank chariot, and red would usually choose to attack with r2 plus 6. Now, would it be a good idea for red to play c5 equals to 4 to target the black chariot instead of advancing the chariot? So these were the moves that were given in the book. And black pieces would be very well developed, so this would not be to red's red would not want to see this to happen, because now the horse, black's right horse, would be prepared to attack and advance, and both his chariots were already developed and occupying strategic lines. So c5 equals to 4 would not be an ideal move to make at this point in time. Instead, red should be aggressive with r2 plus 6, and at this point in time it will be better for black to move r6 equals to 2 or traverse his chariot to the second file. It will not be a good idea, as most of the time r1 equals to 4 will be a more or less automatic move to make, because if r1 equals to 4 were played, red would simply defend with a6 plus 5, and note that the black chariot will not have any good intersections for further development. So this is not very ideal, and r6 equals to 2 will be advocated. So red would choose to trade cannons, and red would be better in this situation because black had not traded his pawns. So in this situation, red would have managed to increase a little bit of advantage going to the mid game. So a short review: after r8 plus 4, it would be wise for black to counter with the central cannon, and once red's horse moved to the riverbank to attack, in variation 1, r4 equals 6 was played, and generally speaking, red will have the advantage going into the mid game phase. So in variation 2, instead of r4 equals to 6, black would target the cannon that had just crossed the river with r4 equals to 2. So since the cannon was trapped, it would be forced to attack the central pawn. Now, once c8 equals to 5 were played, there were two horses that could capture the cannon, and which was protected by red's cannon and horse directly. So it will be a slightly complicated situation, and the advocated move for black would be h3 plus 5. It would not be a good idea to let red achieve a central cannon in this situation, because once it did, the red cannon in front would simply retreat one step backwards, and red's advantage would be huge because the central cannon would now be a force to contend with, and the horse and the red chariot could now do mischief, could now make a lot of mischief on black's left flank. So black must capture the central cannon, and usually f4 equals to 5, material be traded. Red would gain a central cannon, and he would fortify his defenses because black would now be prepared to play r2 equals to 5. Retreating the cannon was not studied in the book. So after r2 equals to 5, one might wonder, would r1 equals to 1 be a better alternative? The answer would be a resounding no, because red would be able to advance his chariot, and he would be prepared to capture the black pawn and be ready to attack. And once the cannon is left at this place, you apply a lot of pressure on black's defense on the whole. So this would not be an ideal move, developing the right chariot as a ranked chariot. So r2 equals to 5 would be advocated. Red would be forced to capture the edge pawn, whereby he would try to attack black's left flank, and to prevent that, black would trade his central cannon. Would attack the central cannon, would attack red's central pawn with his cannon. So black would play a6 equals to 5, and at this point red would have the advantage in terms of the combination of material left on the board, because there will be still at least one piece of each different type of major pieces left, whereas black would only have cannons and chariots present, which would be only able to organize foul or rank attacks. Pincer attacks with the horse would not be possible. So in view of this point, it would be considered that red would still have the slight advantage in this situation. So summary of variation 2, black would play r4 equals to threaten the red cannon, and after trading, red will gain a central cannon. He will fortify his defenses. Black will continue to attack, and at this point in time, red would be considered to have the advantage in terms of the combination of material left on the board. It will still be a rather even situation, but red would generally be better. So I hope you have enjoyed this short video, and I will continue next week with more videos. Thank you for your viewership, and if you like my channel, please subscribe. Thank you.